So I know I'm late to the party here, but I had to talk about this now. I could not wait until the next time I have a show. So Donald Trump has officially tested positive for COVID-19. He got it from Hope Hicks, member of his inner circle. It looks like there's a super spreader in Trump's orbit because Ronna McDaniel, the head of the RNC, as well tested positive. Mike Pence tested negative. His wife tested negative. Melania tested positive. So it is spreading. It's spreading. Somebody had it in the inner circle. I don't know who the original one was. I guess Hope Hicks was the first one to test positive, but who knows who she got it from. There was reporting that Trump for quite a while was not wearing a mask, not socially distancing, and was doing quite a bit. So he went to a fundraiser in Bedminster, New Jersey at his golf course where there were 30 to 50 wealthy Republican donors. They're panicking because they were in close proximity to him, and again, he wasn't wearing a mask. So it's possible some of them end up getting COVID. I want to give you a little more information because this actually just rolled in now. Trump may receive an experimental therapeutic treatment. They may go experimental. Not sure that's the best idea when you're dealing with the President of the United States. At first they said it's mild symptoms. That's what they said this morning when this news came out. Then they changed it to moderate about an hour or two ago. And then again, this is breaking news here. Apparently, he has a high fever. White House sources are saying he has a high fever. There's another piece of breaking news. See, this, I think this is slightly contradictory to the other thing. They said he might try a therapeutic treatment, but there's also news that he's trying, or he already had, a, quote, antibody cocktail. And that was actually, I was speculating about this, that I didn't think they would go hydroxychloroquine, although he claims to love it, and that's like the thing he talks about all the time. It's possible he was popping them like Skittles when he learned he got COVID. But I thought they're probably not going to go in that direction. They're probably not going to go remdesivir because that also has mixed results, just like the hydroxychloroquine. To do the antibody cocktail, I feel like that's going like, let's hit this as hard as we can, as early as we can. And so do the treatment. So the antibody cocktail, of course, is, I think it's a blood plasma treatment. So people who've had COVID and then recovered, and then you find a way to get the antibodies and then put them in somebody who has COVID and doesn't have the antibodies yet. So I thought beforehand that might be the direction they go in, because doing bro science, I just assume that that's probably the strongest way to go after COVID, to defeat COVID. And so, again, I don't know if when they talk about a therapeutic treatment, they're talking about, or an experimental treatment, if they're talking about a different thing, or if they are referring to the antibody cocktail that he already apparently had. But he has a high fever, he has moderate symptoms, Melania has a cough, and I think a low-grade fever. Listen, it's messed up to say, man, but Twitter has been in fuego since this news came out. People are, in the face of this, of what's happening, people are being really funny. Pixelated Boat said, Trump locked up for 2 weeks with nothing to do but watch Fox News and tweet. We're going to get some incredible content. That's kind of true. Let's see. What else do I have for you here? Carl Bezier. The really funny thing about this is that Elizabeth Warren is definitely already trying to game out how this could somehow lead her to being the president. Brandon Wardell says, Donald J. Trump and Joe Biden both have died of COVID, and Bernie Sanders is now president. I mean, listen, the dirty little secret is that the establishment loves Mike Pence and the establishment loves Kamala Harris. even though Biden and Trump are loyal servants of the establishment, they're still not beloved by the establishment, whereas Kamala Harris and Mike Pence are. Oh, the other point is, Joe Biden, Trump had COVID during the debate with Biden. And as Hassan Piker said, listen, man, for whatever reason, you look at Biden and you think, that's a frail old man. If he gets it, it's a rapskis. Like, if he gets it, it could be game, set, and match on Joe Biden. So, he tested negative, so he doesn't have it, or at least he doesn't have it as of now, but he was in close proximity to Trump, and they were screaming at each other in the debate. I guess they were far enough away where, you know, he didn't contract it, or he likely didn't contract it, at least as of yet, or at least we don't know yet, but maybe he's in the clear, maybe he got out of it. They're testing Chris Wallace, obviously, too. So there's a super spreader who was somewhere in Trump's inner circle. Perhaps it was Hope Hicks, perhaps it was somebody else, but the President of the United States has COVID-19. He's 74 years old. He's obese. It's kind of like that is like the most dangerous demographic for this. I guess over 80 and obese is worse, but over 70 and obese, that's bad, man. But listen, it's one of those things with Trump, and I've talked about this quite a bit on my show. He wrote in his book, The Art of the Deal, that people want to believe in something like bigger and better than them, and he tries to fill the role of projecting a superhuman image. And to some extent, he succeeds. I mean, it's almost like he appears to be like ageless in a way. You know what I mean? With the hair, the comb over that he's so dedicated to that he never doesn't do it, the bright orange face. Like he projects this image as like superhuman in a way. And he, you know, that was his goal. But what we're finding out right now is that obviously he's subject to this just like anybody else. The virus doesn't discriminate. And clearly he's downplayed it quite a bit. It is what it is, he said, about the 200,000 people who died. He's always waffling on masks where, you know, he'll say every now and then he'll be like, of course I wear it when it's appropriate, but then he'll be like, you know, many people say it's not a good thing and perhaps you shouldn't wear it, and I see waiters, they touch the mask and then they touch the food and maybe the masks are the problem. So, listen, this is so 2020. This is right in line with what we would expect with how 2020 has been. And who knows how this is going to end, but like I said, it certainly ain't good. It's not good. Over 70, obese, eats like shit, has COVID. I mean, obviously he's going to get the best care possible, but remember, guys, Boris Johnson is much younger than Trump, but he's heavy, he's fat, and he almost died from COVID. He was in the ICU. So, I don't know what's going to happen, but this is crazy. See, in some ways you thought, I certainly did, when Trump was with Jair Bolsonaro, the president of Brazil, and apparently Bolsonaro's right-hand man as well, both Bolsonaro and the right-hand man had COVID. And Trump was eating dinner with them and in close proximity to them, and he somehow didn't get COVID. So there's almost like this false sense of security of like Trump can't get it. It's Trump. It's Trump. It's Trump. What are we talking about? Turns out he can get it. Turns out he has it. And buckle up. No matter what happens, this is going to be a wild ride. I've already seen a bunch of conspiracies. I spoke to somebody who, within the first 5 minutes of learning the news, came up with their own conspiracy that they thought the deep state tried to give it to Trump or gave it to Trump or gave it to Hope Hicks, who then gave it to Trump. That was one of the conspiracies I heard. There's a Democratic conspiracy of like, oh, he did this because he wants to get out of the next debate. Highly doubt that one, because Trump thinks the more he talks, the better he does. So he always wants to be in front of people. He doesn't want to hide from it. He wants, even if he thinks he didn't do well in the last debate, which he does think he did well, he would still want to do the next debate because he thinks he has a better chance of his numbers going up if he's talking. So that was another one. I really highly doubt that one. Corin brought up to me that he thinks it's fake because then when he beats it, he can turn around and be like, see, I told you it's not that bad. And then also, he might get a bump in the polls if he beats COVID. You never know. Politics is weird. People get a giant bump if they, like, win a primary. Like, there's, like, a bandwagon effect that happens because some people are like, that's a winner. I want to be with the winner. And so if Trump beats COVID, they could, you know, people can think, like, hey, he's a winner. I want to hop on board. There could be a little bit of a bandwagon effect. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's possible. But ultimately, no, I think he has it because somebody else pointed out, and I think this is true, for him it's the opposite. Like, he would want you to think he's superhuman in the sense I spoke about before, which is that he, like, couldn't get the virus in the first place. You know what I mean? That he, in his dumb mind, he thinks of sickness as weakness. So he would, like, I'm sure he would have tried to hide it if he could have. You know what I mean? Like, he was much more likely to do something like that. But I guess he can't because too many people know, and it's like the election is soon, so he has to be out there campaigning, but now he can't campaign literally, so couldn't hide it. But my guess is if he was going to do some fuckery on this front, that would be the conspiracy. It wouldn't be like, oh, I'll fake it and then get better from it, and then that'll help me. So, listen, it's a mess, man. It's a mess, but as I said, this is so 2020, and I'm really, I guess in some ways, I'm not even a little surprised. But what's going to happen next? Your guess is as good as mine.